Okay, well, we got the King of Spamalot here. Let's go to another king. They're Richard III. There are two views on Richard III.
Yeah, he's either our most maligned monarch,
or a child-murdering psychopathic hunchback who deserved to meet a very sticky end.
Richard was the last British king to die on the battlefield, but we're not sure what happened to his body afterwards.
Then when we were given exclusive access to a dig in Leicestershire to unearth what appeared to be a horse trough, Big Dan Snow couldn't get there quick enough.
This is Bosworth, site of one of the most decisive battles in British history. In 1485, King Richard III came up here to defend his realm against the upstart Henry Tudor. Richard was defeated and killed. His armour was stripped off him, and his naked and bloody corpse was piled on the back of a horse and taken off for local burial. Next, we think his body was brought here to a church in the middle of Leicester, of which these are the remains, now, slightly strangely, in the basement of De Montfort University. Fast forward 500 years, and a gardener called Reg Colville was watching a documentary about Richard III on television, and he recognised the description of Richard's coffin from a water feature in a garden that he used to work in, and here it is. It's about 5'9" long. You can see it's a bit wider up there for the shoulders and narrower down here for the feet. Could this be the casket of Richard III?
It came up that his body had been dug up and thrown into the River Soar, and his coffin used as horse trough in Leicester.
And was that quite exciting, thinking you might be the only person in the world who knew where that coffin was now?
Well, it was, yes. Yes, it was quite exciting to think that it could be Richard III's coffin.
Archaeologist and historian Richard Knox is overseeing the operation. Richard is yet to be convinced that this is a medieval coffin and not just a horse trough.
Richard's coffin was dug up at the Reformation in 1538, when the Franciscan friary that he was buried in the centre of Leicester was dissolved by Henry VIII. But the coffin and the bones were carried down the street by a jeering mob, and his remains were poured out into the River Soar.
Well, now that we've just got this earth off the side, it's looking more and more like a medieval coffin, I guess. Are those chisel marks you say there, Richard?
That's it, yeah. Medieval mason's marks along the side. I think we have got a medieval coffin here. It really is from Leicester. The association has therefore been given with Richard III, and that's what I find fascinating.
So we know that the casket is medieval and probably came from the same churchyard in central Leicester in which Richard was buried. But the tantalising thing is there's no markings anywhere, nothing to tell us who could have been buried in this coffin.
Absolutely. Certainly it could well have had a monk or somebody in it, or even an abbot maybe.
Or even a king.
Indeed.
So this area is already alive with myths about Richard III. How do you think this is going to contribute?
Well, I think it can only help. And one of the things we're trying to do at the moment at the Battlefield Centre is actually collate all those myths and legends. And with this on display, it can be our focal point.
So, Reg, we owe it all to you. How are you feeling about it?
Very happy indeed.
You've made your contribution to the myth of Richard.
Yes.
Well, was Richard III lying in there? We will let you know as soon as we know.
Yes, it is Richard III in there. In the meantime, you can see it's at Bosworth Battlefield Heritage Centre in Leicestershire in the new year. More exclusive pictures to see from the dig available on our website, bbc.co.uk/The1Show.